Well, and without further ado, as was said by Krzysztof, thank you again. Tools worth knowing. Use what you can to speed yourself up. Use something which actually will remove the barriers, remove the obstacles, enlarge your comfort zone. This is what tools are for. The presentation contains videos. It's already published at my website, LavPL. If you are going to watch it, along with watching me live, then I recommend Chrome, Chromium, or other browsers which can handle MKV videos. All right, without talking, why do I focus on obstacles? Because at some point I realized that people can be stopped 50 times a day due to things that they're not comfortable doing. And why they're not comfortable doing? Because those things require manual steps, require several things to do, and therefore are considered a hassle. So take a look at yourself. Try to actually count one day how many obstacles do you have and how often this repeats itself. How often during one day, 1 week, you're facing the same issue, like, for example, logging to some rarely used system or whatever actually. So my name is Tomasz Borek. I have a blog, a Twitter. I have a company, Mitoridafi. Today I represent Epam, about which in a moment. You can find me on various internet groups or actually some other places. You can find me on YouTube as well. And as I said, I'm representing Epam today, so I want to tell you what I'm doing for them. And this is Epam Academy and Pre-Academy. Pre-Academy is an online training, 5 months long, 3 lectures a week, really large coding task, which is great to get juniors up to speed with some real mentoring. Academy is 3 to 4 months on-site, 9 books to read, 3 projects to do, hands-on training. So this is an excellent thing, both of them, to jumpstart your career and actually get to IT. Now, without just to let you know how things will look, because I'll have little time and I have many tools to tell you about, and therefore I want you to know how I'm structuring the presentation. So first, you have a problem, then you have a tool which helps you solve this problem. You have some installation info if needed, because in some cases there is no installation info. If it's larger, then you have either a screenshot or a link. How to use often call the commands, some demo, perhaps as an image or a video, and then you have links, which are like where to get it, how to get started. Official links are, preferred, no more than 4, because I don't want to clutter things for you. If you want to write write the questions to the chat, pretty much the links or slide is your slide. Okay, so let's start with the first tool which helps you with outdated dependencies, Env Inversions Plug-in. The plugin is actually not required. You don't require to install it. You do if you want to make it part of your build, like automated. Like every time you do env and verify, then you would probably plug the plugin inside your POM and tie it to the verify phase. But just to use it, just to see, it's okay not to install it. You would use it most likely for the reporting purposes. So here are 3 reporting goals, but they are not the only goals the plugin has. So you have Maven versions, display property updates, display plugin updates, display dependency updates. Most likely you want only the property updates, unless for some strange reasons you're not following the good practice of having every single version number inside the properties. Now, let's take a look at how it actually works. Allow me to go full screen for you. And here we go. Yep, let's start from the beginning. As you can see, we are actually typing in Maven versions display property updates. It actually runs through all the properties and it tells me which properties, are fully available, or I can actually update them. Now I'm going to change, the property to first plugin then dependency, so that you can see all the 3 goals that I just mentioned. Remember, the plugin has more goals, which are more important because they allow you to update the things like automatically. Now here you have, things done for the plugins, and now it's time actually to take a look at plugin updates. You can see that I have several plugins in this demo project, which I could actually, update. The error and the warning, they are for people who are doing Maven plugins. For them, they really matter. For those of us who are doing commercial software, not so much. And here you have a really large log of pretty much every dependency that I'm using, and you can see which one could be, brought up. Well, With this out of the way, let's move on because we have a little time. So here are some links for you to, get the plugin, read more about it, find out the usages. Especially important usage is, when you try to update your dependency versions or when you try to update your properties. If you're using version control systems, these two are fairly safe because if anything is botched, you have to correct version, just in a git. So you can just do git diff to take a look what changed, and you can even sometimes don't think about it, which is really, really pleasant. Now, outdated dependencies are bad, but vulnerable dependencies are straight out nightmarish. So here we have two tools to actually make sure that we're not really vulnerable, at least on the dependencies side. And these are security versions done by Red Hat and dependency check done by OWASP. So let's take a look. Again, install not required unless you wish to plug them in into automated builds, where you will probably, just add a proper plugin to the plugins and then, just use it. How do you use it? Actually, the commands are here. They're straightforward. You're actually using the Maven coordinate system. So here we have, a group for first tool, then we have artifact, and then we have a goal or the action that we wish to perform. Now, then we have again the group, colon, artifact, colon, and the goal that we wish the plugin to perform for us. Now, out of the two, Maven Red Hat security version is faster, easier to plug in, therefore, because you don't wait anything or almost nothing actually. And OWASP is more known, well established, and well documented as well. The victims, well, actually, let me just demonstrate. So again, I'll go full screen on it for you. And here we go. As you can see, I have a vulnerable project, and here is pretty much two POMs I'm having. The insecure POM has this dependency added in, and I'm specifying to use the insecure POM for the Red Hat victims Maven security versions. And it's checking, it actually nicely displays using colors that my one dependency actually contains plenty of vulnerabilities. And here, the same thing, using OWASP. Now, if you run OWASP for the first time, then this will, you will have to wait as it downloads the databases that it connects to. Red Hat tool uses victims database. OWASP uses dependency merging analyzer, version filter analyzer, hint analyzer, and actually 2 or 3 databases. So it's more checking here, therefore it lasts longer. However, I'm actually using both if I wish to find out, just in case one DB has information sooner than the other. As you can see, the report here is not as nice, but to be honest, neither of the reports are perfect for me because they always end with build success, no matter if they found or not. The build success is not the indicator of finding the vulnerability or not. It's just, a matter of, yes, the tool finished working. Now here you have the movie is ongoing, and it shows us what happens if I do it with the secure POM. So just you can see that it indeed ends with build success, but it doesn't output any information about vulnerabilities because I didn't tell it to use the insecure POM, but the secure one. So here the same thing for the security versions, the same action, but with a different secure POM. And you will see that it also will find nothing wrong with it. And, that's it. Okay. Again, don't use the Apache struts because, well, at least not this version, please. And if you're using other versions, be careful. All right. I think we can safely move on. Here are 2 links for victims here and 2 links for OWASP. You can actually quickly plug all of those in, and you can take a look at where they take the data from if you follow their documentation. Now, next problem, fake real data generation. Fake and real kind of don't go well together, but this is fake data, but seemingly real. And the tool I want to talk about is jFairy by DevSkiller and previously CodeArty. So to install, you do it as, Maven dependency. Here is a short demonstration how it actually looks like. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to zoom out. Zoom in actually. Let me Yep. So here we have actually Chinese data, but we can change this to, for example, have the French data or Polish data. I'll be choosing the Polish one. And here you can take a look at, various profiles which have name, second, middle name, the last name, and several other things. You can actually tie this up with the company information. You can actually have identity documents, addresses, contact details, banking information if you so choose, and as I said earlier, the company information. So you can actually take a look and see that you have quality data here available for you. And well, if you so want, just use it. Oh my, I've actually gone back too far. So how do you use it in code? You just need to have the dependency plugged in, and then fairy create gives you the fairy object, and then you can do person or company. If you want to tie the person to the company, then probably you earlier do fairy.company, and then you will call fairy.person. This gives you pretty much the data I just demonstrated on the online tool. Well, the links for you to get it, as you can see, 0.59 version is in the Maven Central, so don't hesitate and grab it. Now, it's actually time to work with different Java versions. So SDKman is the tool I really, really like for it. So there are others, make no mistake, there are like 7 to 8 tools which help solve this problem. And I used some of them before I settled at, with SDKman. So SDKman install happens in one command. You need to have a curl, you need to have a zip, you need to have an unzip, and there you go. This is pretty much the command to install SDKman. So we're doing a silent curl to get SDKman from the URL, and we're piping the installation script to a bash, which actually then goes on to creates a directory, fill in the SDKman there, and also add something to Z shell, bash, or fish shell, because those three shells are supported by SDKman. And with that, you have a tool with one command, you're able to install multiple things. And let me talk about those in just a minute. So there are options for Windows installations. So if you have Windows subsystem Linux, if you have Cygwin, if you have Git bash, then pretty much the install will work, again, in one command. Now, how do you use it? SDK is the primary command, and you have a number of subcommands, including update, upgrade, ls, and numerous others. Now, it needs to be said that there are actually numerous funny things about SDKman, and I will definitely not do the tool justice in just this time I'm having. That's true for most of the tools. Here we go, however. At first, please notice that I'll pause the movie for a moment. Notice, please, that we are actually having here a number of things possible. These are all the commands that the SDKman offers me. You can see that there is a longer, the shorter version. I'm usually just using the shorter versions. And you can do numerous fun things like, for example, list the candidates, where the candidates are pretty much the tools that you have installed. And they have the tools in various versions. So you can list them, and you can uninstall or install them, and you can even install the given version, or perhaps you want them in a specialized local path. You have the completion for bash and PROIDEA shell. You can actually install it, so then later both those shells will offer you completion when you use the SDKman in your console. You can have the configuration done. You can also set the environment, about which I'll talk a bit later. The default for say default version of Java, or perhaps just a current version of Java to display, and perhaps to change between, say, one terminal or another. So with this, it's actually rather simple and easy to do all that. Now, here I'm doing ls. Why I'm doing ls? Because I really want you to let you know how many commands the SDKman possesses. Well, not commands, tools. You have ASCII doctor for J. You have a language for JVM concurrent programming. You have a number of tools from Apache, including Maven. You have also Gradle, JBank, JBake. Java comes in plenty of flavors, and you will see that in a moment. Kotlin, Groovy, Grails, etc., etc. So plenty, really plenty of various things. And here is how many, Java versions and providers you can have. To install one of those, you will just do SDK install Java, say, for example, from the adopt OpenJDK, but also from SAP or from JavaNet, which is the OpenJDK, or from other providers. For a moment there was even Oracle there. I don't know if they are there still, but there is definitely Zulu from Azul. So yep, you would be rather spoiled at what you're able to have here. Okay, moving on. So to install, follow just the link, but it's just that one command plus some information about potential issues or uninstalling as well. Usage gives you a nice rundown of the commands, and JDKs tells you which JDK you will be able to have with that. All right, so different JDKs, we have covered that, but what if you have different other things? So ASDF is a thing which actually helps you with that regard. I used ASDF to install things from Postgres database to Node.js, NPM, and various tools in between. So to install it, you need bad news for the Windows people, but Linux and Mac OS only. Well, actually, to be honest, I haven't really tried doing what SDK tells you to do. That is using Windows Linux subsystem, or using Cygwin, or using Git Bash. Perhaps this will be all that is required. After all, the prerequisites to install it is, to get a Git and the curl. So Git, curl, and you're pretty much done with the prerequisites. This is what you need to have prior to cloning the repository. So you install with one command, git clone the repository link, then followed by the path to which you wish to install, and presumably this will be your home directory.asdf, and there is the branch. Don't take the branch always from here, because probably in 2 months or so they will move on and the branch here will just stay the same. Now, the screenshot from the installation, as you can see, there are other ways to install. They actually got this covered nicely. I never needed to use anything than those here that are listed, so Linux, Aptitude, and Git. That was pretty much my go-to installation method. All right, so ASDF is interesting in the fact that actually it's a bunch of bash scripts. The fact is that whether you install anything here, if you understand a bit of bash, you're able to pretty soon discover what is going on. So just to show this, there are, damn it, why do I do that? Yep. And there we go. And here you have pretty much all the plugins. And as you can see, first of all, the interesting thing about ASDF is the fact that it actually has the pluggable architecture, so extensible architecture. You can write your own plugin for your own tool in a similar manner like SDK allows others to use it to offer more. To list all the installed plugin, you will do ASDF plugin list to actually see where they come from. So the repositories where you pulled them from, because they are all pretty much the Git repositories, you would go with plugin list URLs. And update is another command. So these are pretty much all the shell commands that you can use really, really quickly. All right, one more thing here to show is how many commands you're having. As you can see, not that many. I mean, that's not a small number, okay? I'm not trying to criticize anybody here, but I'm trying to say that this is actually pretty manageable. All right, similarly with the SDK. So those tools I really recommend you if you have multiple projects and you dislike the fact that when you switch one directory to another, then you're not having your settings, or you need to actually remember what was done there and how it was done, etc., etc. So no need, not anymore. You have SDK, you have ASDF, they got you covered. But make no mistake, this is not all. All right, so settings per project, the problem I just outlined, the problem where you are actually, going from one directory to another, and everything changes. You used to build with this command, now you build with that command. You used to have this database, now you have the other database. So if you ever land in a situation where you're kind of lost because there are so many projects you need to take care of, and this is a good situation to be in, then I have several solutions for you. So to have settings per project, and even better per project directory, you would use Sdk Env, ASDF, and .tool versions. And this file is part of the ASDF, and actually ASDF treats this as a config file. Then you would use editor config and .env files. So let me first cover the first two. Sdk Env allows you to pretty much use a given version, say, of Maven, of Java, given provider for Java, and other tools actually as well, like, for example, Micronaut or Spring. And you can have them per project set up using Sdk Env. You could just, walk into a project and have your tools pick up, oh, there is the SDK man configuration for the environment, so let me pick it up, let me, quickly run it, update it, perhaps move the versions up if I so desire, etc., etc. And they will be localized, like per project, really. ASDF and tool versions are another mechanism for doing the same thing. In the tool versions, you will actually store that your Postgres SQL version is, say, 9 or 10 or 12. And in the tool versions, you would say that your NPF is this or that. One of the serious problems I'm having with full stack projects is so often they have different versions of the NPM and therefore of all packages, because you can't just say, take one version of NPM and substitute it with another. So no can do here. Editor config. This is actually really nice if you're working with multiple languages. Like, for example, you have Python, and you have Java, and you have JavaScript, and you have Bash, and you have a few others. So editor config actually has plenty of editors already respecting it, including of course JetBrains IDEs for pretty much whatever language, but not only. The Git platforms, hosting platforms are also respecting editor config. So sure, absolutely do use it. And env files for actually storing environmental variables being picked up automatically and applied per project. Again, a very nice solution. So editor config, follow this link here. No install required, because pretty much you're having an editor config file. Editors have bundled support for the file. They actually look for the settings into a file, so you can have the settings different, again, per project, which is awesome. And then you have settings for, well, I think most of editor, I've written here all because I honestly didn't encounter editor which didn't have it. I think most of them are done. Languages settings and settings relevant for a given language, like, for example, respecting the tab spaces in Python. Yeah, so really nice. And here you have the .env frameworks for like 5 different languages. It originated with Ruby, so the Trailblazer, and most likely you would be most interested in the one on Java, but this is pretty much what allows you to pick up environmental variables, have them safely stored, do not push them to the repository, and yet enjoying them. Yeah, so nice thing. Okay, moving on, next tool, document and enhance web services API. We have web services API like REST, like SOAP, and we wish to actually have nice-looking documentation for them, enhance them, perhaps offer some features so that others can easily connect with us using those web service API. So most complex install so far, the tool is Enunciate, and you have here 2 links, to just take a look at how you would install. The first link is important to set your project up with Enunciate. The second is, just frequently asked questions, where you will actually see various troubles that can crop up during installation. Not that I think you will have them. Actually, for me, that was, well, I already had all the prerequisites on my machine, so perhaps I was lucky. But then again, I used it for like a few months now, and it was usually this one machine, so can't really say much about installation troubles here. Now, how do you use it? -f, you're providing the POM, as you see here, then you're doing cargo run, and you're getting API, which scraps HTML documentation from your Java docs. So all you have written in the Java docs, you will have it, you know, you will have it in the HTML version for the documentation of your API. You also will have Swagger because they come with bundled in Swagger, so you don't need to install it anymore. And you will also get this nice files and resources where you will get, you know, plenty of examples how to connect with REST API using number of languages, and I will show this like in a moment. And you will even give people downloadable API that helps them to use your API, be it SOAP or REST. Now here is pretty much you know, the languages collections and the links collections. So C, C#, GWT, Java, with JSON, with XML, JavaScript. Then you have the schema for your application. So the WADL file, web application description language. You have also Objective-C, PHP with JSON, XML, and Ruby with JSON. So there is plenty, you know, of help for other people to get started to use your API. This is really nice. Now, you also get a Swagger. So this is a Swagger for the person's endpoint, and you can see that you can see pretty much all the, well, this is usual Swagger, so I don't think I need to talk much about it. Swagger is also a nice tool, but I don't have time for it today, so let's move on. So we have, you know, a bunch of links here for you, and there is the website, which actually I first stumbled upon and found out about Enunciate a few months ago. And there is the user guide, which is, I think, yeah, give it a once read over. And then you have wiki and the annotations, which help you, you know, to plug it in and use it fully. And with this, I think we're pretty much close to the summary. I managed with the time. So the MVN versions, security versions, dependency check, jQuery, enunciate, editor config.env, ASDF, SDKman. Those tools we have covered today. Notice please that this is not really the full list. This is just what I mentioned. And there is absolutely more out there. There's lots of tools I haven't even mentioned. Like slides are already published, so you will be able to review the presentation calmly and, you know, without being rushed. You have the slides on my website. It's already linked. Pretty much what I'm showing you is already, you know, showed from out of my website. And off topic, recently I was able to start a collaboration with Niebezpiecznik, and we're doing something nice with regards to defensive programming. It's a bit intro level, but here is a, well, pay what you want webinar, and if you will take a look at it, thank you very much. Now, one last marketing push here. Epam wants you to visit their booths and solve the quiz and win the prizes. I don't know if they want everybody to win the prizes, but they seem adamant that they have plenty of prizes, so perhaps, so give it a try. And there is a quiz going on called Brain Ball, and you will be actually able to take it online. For the first top 3 teams, there are like nice prizes, which you can see over here. Create a team, choose the captain, register, and solve the puzzles. And, well, the credit for the presentation goes firstly and foremostly to tool makers and authors. Without them, I wouldn't be able to give it. So thank you very much, those people, because they're doing awesome job. And I've did this with the technologies listed here. And with this, thank you very much. And passing the mic back to the studio. Thank you, Krzysztof, and the mic is yours.